There are a lot fewer two-parent families.
What's worth more, $1 today or $1 tomorrow?
Almost nobody gets out of love alive.
Prisoners' rights is out of sight, out of mind.
Is your brain on God?
You ain't ready to
There are discussions
how
as
they thought
black families have to have them.
What's worth more, $1 today or $1 tomorrow? What's worth more, $1
Welcome, folks, to your Reality Gurus, the show we take a commonsensical approach to issues through complex conversation. I'm your host, Steve Cleve. Man, we got a lot to talk about, and I'm not going to waste no time. Let's get and talk to these fellas, man. Andy, DB, Anye, what's up, fellas? Listen, man, Colin Kaepernick, Nike, talk to me. Andy, let me go ahead and see what you got. What you got to say about this situation, man? Nike, go ahead and got this. Kaepernick has his own line. He has his own logo. Own millions. Listen, talk to me. How do you feel about this, chick?
I think in his hearts and minds, Nike has co-opted anybody that represents Black excellence and is using it to increase their revenue stream. And I feel like this kind of took the meat out of what Kaepernick was trying to do, to me personally. I feel like if Nike is backing him, I feel like it's disingenuous. I feel like even though I'm not a brand person, I feel like for example, I feel like Adidas kind of, to me, seem more genuine, even though corporations is bullshit. And I'm not, I'm an Adidas fan. It's just like Adidas has kind of was like the group that, that was fucking with, Run DMC early and all this other shit, or, they may have fucked with Kanye. I feel like they actually do their research. Whereas Nike is just like, whole bunch of corporate bureaucrats with fucking suits, and they're just like, who does these niggas worship? Fucking Nike check.
All right, Anye, what's up with you, man? How you feeling about this this big deal that Nike has signed Colin Kaepernick to? What you feel about it?
Man, I'm in a space to where, hey, I definitely support the movement. You know what I'm saying? I know Kaepernick's face is in front of it, but at this point, I just don't know what to believe. I don't know what to trust now, especially with Nike jumping in at this specific time right here. I'm like, hold up. Because they all about $1. They ain't never cared about our community. They ain't never cared about our struggle. Mm-hmm. Are they just trying to be strategic and just make $1 and attach their name to what's hot right now? Because when you look back at certain guys in certain time frames, speaking specifically on sports, Nike's name is right on top of them. Jordan, LeBron. Jordan was the face of the community. Well, he was that Black athlete, but he really didn't utilize his voice. Then we transitioned into LeBron. LeBron's that guy. You know what I'm saying? He's political with it. He speaks out on topics. Why not? Let's take it a step further and jump on Colin Kaepernick's bandwagon. So throughout history, when they say Kaepernick, they say Nike. So that's why I'm like, I don't know if I can even trust him anymore. So I don't know, man. My thoughts are all over.
Okay, so now Kaepernick's intentions are coming into question for you. Okay, DB, let's hear it, man. How you feeling about it?
I mean, I don't know if I'm at the point of questioning Kaepernick's intentions, at least from the beginning. But I do agree that Nike now is getting into control of whatever movement that he originally had. So it's kind of like, I feel like, what's the slogan? Believe in something. It's the same as like Mike. It's the same as Bo knows everything. It's becoming a slogan now, which kind of dilutes any message that he's trying to do. So I mean, I think that's probably the danger of it, unfortunately.
Now, okay, so all right, so honestly, I'm cool with it, man. I'm cool with it. I know on the surface that it looks like just an individual victory, but because of what he's been doing before this deal has come into play, is giving me, or should give people who care about this type of stuff hope that he will continue on. Now that he has his check, he has his contract, he's where he needs to be, he has his voice, he has his platform, and then he has this big corporation supporting him. Now he can go ahead and do his thing in peace. DB, I was what you just was mentioning about now that it's become a slogan that you think Nike has kind of take control over the situation. How do you feel that way? Like, what specifically is going on that's making you think that now that he will lose control of, the message?
I mean, I think whenever you have money funding you, you have to take into play what the investors want. I think that's with any kind of business. I think once you get funded, um, and it might not be true that they're actually doing it, but I think that starts becoming a fear in people's mind. Like, I mean, automatically when the deal came out that he was going to be part of this campaign of the 30-year anniversary of Just Do It, people were automatically already saying, "Oh, he's a plant." Right? People started saying all these other stuff about his intentions, which kind of now dilutes it. And it also creates a little bit more division. At the end of the day, it's automatically throwing off some of what he originally had intended in the first place when he took the knee, which was already diluted because people started talking about it being about disrespecting the flag. So now it's even more because now you got Nike on top of it. So now this becomes another subject which takes away from the idea. I think it does benefit a lot of people that was originally riding with Kaepernick because I see a lot of those same people posted up on Instagram or Facebook with their sneakers, with their Nikes posted. You know what I mean? So they're charged right now. They are charged. I just think the message in itself, now it becomes, like you said, about the individual. It becomes about Kaepernick. So Kaepernick is at the front of it, where even like when I look at the video, as I'm thinking about it now, like the video that comes along with this campaign, it didn't mention anything about the kneeling. It didn't mention anything about police brutality. It mentioned just about believing in something. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so all right, so I'll let me just address that real quick, and I'm gonna run back to Andy. This is the thing. I want to know what's the problem with taking money from a corporation to fund what you know, your visions and your stuff. What's wrong with taking money from a corporation and putting it towards the shit that you want to do? What's wrong with that? Why is it? Why is it just be?
I mean, if you're asking me, I don't. In general, it's not nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying that's the part that's wrong. What I'm saying is that the fear, at least, is that Nike could now control that message or dilute that message. I said this before, like me and Ane was talking about it. Now, to me, it's a matter of what Kaepernick moves is. It's not about even Nike for me. It's what Kaepernick does with the money. So I agree. It's not anything necessarily wrong with him taking the money and funding his actions if his actions are really genuine. Now it's up to Kaepernick to see if he's actually that genuine.
And that's pretty much how I feel about it. So now I'll run back to Andy. So okay, so I mentioned Ray, and you mentioned you would ride with him because of his views on how black celebrities are used by corporations to kind of control some things in our communities, right? Um, I'll ask you, what's wrong with him, accepting this contract, this deal, and using those funds to go ahead and finish up, what he started, even though that people are running out grabbing Nikes and grabbing the stuff and Nike's getting rich. What's wrong with that kind of arrangement, that kind of give and take? What's wrong with that situation? If you think it's a
I
problem.
mean, from the commercial or from the little segment or whatnot, I feel like it doesn't reflect his ideals, and even then, even reflect his ideals. Even then, to me, is like because I wasn't a big Kaepernick guy. I felt like it's like because I don't really know his intentions. You ain't never gonna know his intentions, and also I feel like you don't know his ideals so much. Like okay, police reform. Anybody could say that, and I'm not saying what he did is like okay, it's a waste of time, but police reform is not specific enough. I started questioning Kaepernick's ideals like with the GQ cover. I mean, like GQ, like they start. I feel like if it's grassroots, and I don't feel like a corporation or specifically Nike really reflects that. I mean, you could get the money, but it's like I don't know. Is it like I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't reflect it. I feel it could be disingenuous, and also his career was kind of declining, but I'm not on the extreme shit. I'm not on that right wing kind of ideal saying that, oh, he's disrespecting the flag. I'm also not those other people that put him up as a martyr. I just look at him as like, okay, this is just a guy, whatever. I guess that's the best way I can answer.
Got you. So, my experience, some of my experiences with like just business in general is, well, let's forget my experience. Let's first talk about what the argument is. Our communities, funding. We don't have access to wealth. We don't have access to capital, so we can go ahead and do things, right? So now, we're in this country and we're trying to make it work, right? We're trying to figure it out. Colin Kaepernick. He's a professional football player. I have no idea how he felt growing up or whatever. But once he got to the NFL, he started seeing things outside. He used that, as opportunity to go ahead and demonstrate. Here's the question, gentlemen. Well, Anye specifically. If capital and access to capital is one of our biggest problems, then why would we look at a corporation and have any issues with what their intentions are when they're willing to write the check and the individual who's willing to accept it? So far, their history has shown they're doing some things in a positive nature. Why wouldn't we believe that sitting down at that table, they would make sure that they could preserve the integrity of their message before they go into with this corporation? Like, I think it's me personally, I think it's a great idea when there's corporations out there willing to, in mainstream, just seem like they support. Let's think about it this way. Nike made this decision, and since then, people are burning their shoes all over the place. Matter of fact, when it first happened, they lost about 8% in the stock that day. Things were happening. They were losing things. They took the sacrifice, right? But they still went ahead and made this move. Like, why would that just on the surface be something that people would question, man? Why is that something to question? Just the relationship on the surface. Why is that something to question, man? Especially when the protest was going on. I'm sorry. Especially when the boycott and stuff was going on. Everybody was all excited about that. Kaepernick. Now, what was it they were trying to get done? Tell me, what victory were people looking for? The immediate victory. What were we looking for? This is not one of them. Do you guys think this is not one of these immediate victories that people were looking for, or should have been?
I just think we need to think a little bit deeper into it all and not just see what's on the surface and run with it emotionally. I'm not saying any of you guys are doing it, but I know our people are so reactionary and we won. It's a long battle to go. And history has showed us a lot of times when we got something going from the grassroots and we allow white dollars to come in, sometimes they jump in the driver's seat and they switch the narrative of the movement. And when it's all said and done, it's like, whoa, what the fuck? Like, that wasn't what we were in it for. Cases like the NAACP and even the Urban League in the past. But speaking specifically on Kaepernick and just talking about the struggle that we're in a land where we don't have the resources, you're right. We are going to have to make connects with those who have the resources. But my question becomes, in those meetings, how much is he bending? Or is he bending at all? Is he standing saying, hey, this is the motto, this is the message, this is what I'm going with. I'm not bending on this. This is my end game right here. And how much can you do that when somebody is going to fund you so much? Because they're gonna say, hey, hold on, we're not comfortable with that. We're not cool with that. Let's go back to the commercial. Okay, so originally, it was all about injustice and police brutality. I really didn't hear about injustice or police brutality from the commercial. All I heard was be the best that you can be. So it's already starting to send mixed signals to our people.
Here's the thing. I look at again, this is business, right? There's a business aspect to it. So Nike, they have to consider, their audience, right? So I don't have a problem with them being careful about how they put the message out. We understand that they're making a stance to support the message, but you don't have to flaunt it in a way where it's going to I don't know how I say it well, but the words is not politically correct, and it's directly offending or upsetting another sect of people. They tried to word this to where it included everyone, but we understand what's behind it. We understand what the logo stands for, right? So I don't have a problem with them being careful about it because at the end of the day, it's business. They're trying to make money at the end of the day. But I'm talking about Colin Kaepernick and what he's done before this deal. He basically destroyed his football career, right? Why would anybody think that sitting in the boardroom with Nike that he would bend that way after just destroying his whole career in the NFL? Why go that far to get into the boardroom or get into the meeting room and then just give it all away? I just will wonder what would be the point of something like that.
Well, I just have so many question marks because from what I'm hearing, he was endorsed by Nike before this whole thing blew up. But then I heard he signed a new deal after he left the league, which was like a mega deal. I don't know how true it is. It's all speculation.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's got to be some type of appreciation there, and a little bit of a bend with Nike when it's like, hold up, these dudes saved me when the NFL shitted on me. I'm able to donate to the black community. I'm able to eat because they came to my aid, so I can't go too hard on them. I can't bite the hand that's feeding me. The NFL is not.
And you know what? To be completely honest, I wonder how much. I mean, I know he made a sacrifice with his career. That's the narrative. But at the same time, like Andy made a point. He was on GQ. He had a book deal. He had plenty of backing from major people. And donations was coming from major people like Ava DuVernay, where that he was still pretty prominent, even outside of the league. You know what I mean? Like he was still making moves. This is just a bigger move than has been made since he left out of there, like since he left out of the NFL.
Let's not forget
So, you know,
that's a good point too, Dane, because the narrative almost seemed like, hey, he's spending the last of his NFL money on the movement and on the people. So,
well, let's not forget that before him having all of these issues, he did sign like an $80 million or like $100 million contract, 50 million guaranteed or something like that. So at the point when he did start to demonstrate financially, he was fine. All right. So I guess I don't know, man. I guess I would just have to see. I guess we just have to wait and see a little bit more about what
I think that's what it is.
But because but this is my problem. My problem is why before we even see, not say we, but why are people so against this thing? I mean, black people. Why are they so against this move? If they were so gung ho about the boycott, because this is what I'm saying. They one. We're talking about pride, like we're talking about these little moral victories, these little I want to be a part of something type things. We're not talking about anything concrete with regard to the boycott. And people was jumping off of bridges to support that. Off of bridges. Now this brother, finally, with all of the negativity, the work that he's put in, the criticism, right? After all these couple of years that's gone by, right? A corporation finally reaches out and say, listen, man, what we understand. And even if that's what the message is, that we understand. And they're going forward to get this deal, make a logo, they're trying to create, in my opinion, a whole new Jordan type brand. You don't think so? You don't think it could mean the same thing? That logo?
It can, but I think like honestly, I kind of, because I'm thinking about it, like I think most of the people that were on one side or another before this deal are the same way for the majority. Like I think the same people that were burning Nike shoes were the one that was burning Kaepernick's jersey. I think a lot of people that were supporting him and with the boycott are the ones that's backing him. I think maybe a small minority, and I'm thinking this now, the ones that maybe like me, like even though I wasn't fully into his thing, I kind of hope something else will come out of it. Like I kind of hope that he was genuine. That now when the bigger corporation comes in, they might be the ones that's sliding off. But I think a huge majority of the same people that you're talking about, the same one when we talked about Kaepernick back in the day, that when you asked them, what are you actually boycotting? And it was like, because he black, you know what I mean? Like just for no reason.
Right.
I think they're the same ones that still are supporting him. They're the ones that still are going to go out and buy some Nikes right now because of this situation.
I like.
You know what?
Yeah.
I don't mean to cut everybody off, but
no,
let me rephrase. you don't think like with the Kaepernick shit, like I feel like you could get $1 million deal or whatever from Nike, but why do they need to implicate anything having to do with the stance? Like it couldn't have just been like, hey, Kaepernick, just do it. Why is it like if you gotta stand for something? It's like I feel like that's my only problem. Because he could have got money. He could have got money from Nike. Who cares? Like LeBron gets in, I support LeBron and I fucks with LeBron. Because it's to me with LeBron, it's kind of like, you know what, I'm a great athlete, you know what I'm saying? Nike's with me. That's cool. Like with Kaepernick, it's like hearts and minds, and that's what I don't like about it. And it was kind of implicating the movement itself. If it was just Kaepernick, just do it. All right, get your money, nigga, and then use it how you wanted to use it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's
Exactly.
Okay,
We
so
put it in such question because it's like when does a corporation ever come to fund a radical? When have you ever been rewarded for sacrificing it all for the people and going against white America? And now we're seeing some.
when they see an opportunity, I'm not saying that
Yeah.
Nike is not being there's not an opportunity for Nike. It is. But I'm in business. There's give and take. There's a relationship. There's a deal. Somebody put it like this: how I explain. So for instance, if we are bartering, we're not using money. For instance, we're not using any cash. There's something that you need. Say for instance, I need a can of pork and beans, and you need a rake, right? You can't get to the pork and beans, and I can't get to the rake. We go ahead and we exchange these things, right? We exchange these things. Somebody from a distance may say, well, that's not even an even exchange. But to those people, it is. To Colin Kaepernick, what it was that they gave him is just what he needed to do what he needed to do. And for Nike, this situation with the I'm gonna jump into something else real quick in a minute. Fuck you guys' head up real quick. But you jump into Nike, they see an opportunity to sell more sneakers, to create a whole new brand. Jordan is eventually, right? I think the Jordan shoe may not be, the staple of the black community. Sooner or later, it's going to be replaced with something else. Maybe Yeezy. Maybe Yeezy's is doing something, right? Eventually, Nike understands that the Jordan brand is going to shift and move somewhere else, and you got to replace it with something else. This is an opportunity for them. I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
I have no problem with them using this opportunity. The fact is, Colin Kaepernick also can take advantage of this opportunity. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So what is it?
Okay.
Is it the Air Revolutionaries? The Air Revolutionaries.
Air Revolutionaries.
Hey, G, I got no problem with that. If Kaepernick is saying, hey, I'm gonna use Nike and this Nike money and this platform. If Nike's saying, hey, I'm gonna use what's hot and I'm gonna use Kaepernick's name. But my question is Kaepernick even who we think he is, and do we agree with what his end game is? And see, we're in a place where we just don't know.
Why did it? Okay, so why did it change, Ed? What happened? What did Kaepernick do or not do within these last few days that got you thinking that now you have to question his intentions? Because I don't think I ever heard you saying before that his intentions need to be questioned when he was kneeling on that field, brother. So what happened within the last 2 days? What happened in the last 2 days that changed your mind, brother? Talk to me.
You got the jersey on. You got the jersey on.
I'm telling you, just the timing of when this Nike deal hit just made me start to scratch my head. And I'm like, hold up, man. I hope that he wasn't a dude that was just chosen to be the face of this. Because you got dudes like Marshawn Lynch who was sitting on that bench and not fucking with the anthem long before Colin Kaepernick. Why wasn't he the face of this?
That's actually a good thing because you have other people who are in the same position as Kaepernick who kneeled, who are also kind of been pushed out of the league that you don't hear anything about. You know what I mean? At all.
Here's the thing. Again, this is business. So from Nike's standpoint, you got to look for something that's marketable. Marshawn Lynch, in their opinion, for this type of thing, he's not marketable for this. You understand? But they're being. But here's the thing. I want to throw something out there. Now, it's interesting that the timing. You mentioned the timing, right? Everybody is talking about this is unprecedented. No corporation has ever done this, or sports, whatever. I want to know how much do you think that this Trump presidency, the environment that's created, that's prompted a Nike corporation to feel comfortable with doing something like this, man?
I think it has everything to do with that. I think it has
1,000% to do with
it has absolutely everything to do with that. I think when another time when I was talking to Ye, I mentioned like this is back in the Super Bowl when the Falcons won it, when they choked, from what I heard.
Right.
They
They
that
did.
Super Bowl.
They fucking
And
died.
I was watching that, and I remember there was this commercial. It was by a lumber company, and it was a commercial where they had this Latina woman and her daughter, and they woke up. They got dressed and packed their stuff and jumped on a truck, and that truck took them to a train. The train took them somewhere else, and then they end up at this big wall, right? And which at that time was when Trump just got elected and talking about build the wall, build the wall, build the wall, right? So basically, that's them right there to me, trying to capitalize on what's happening in the political climate today. This to me is no different on Nike's part of them doing the same thing. They see that this movement is going. They seen that the majority of their demographic is black, and that they're supporting this. That this is a good business move for them. This is them taking that turmoil. On top of that, because somebody made a point, you also have LeBron and Sabrina Williams, who are both kind of outspoken on Trump and certain things that's happening with the administration, where it might feel comfortable to them to like let's do this now. Let's put him out there now, because like you said, he is marketable. He is. I don't know if I want to call him safe yet, but he is marketable. You know what I mean? And he has that movement behind him.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's that.
I just had an epiphany. I'm sorry. I just had an epiphany. You don't see, right? You just noticed, right? Prior to this Kaepernick shit is happening, right? Because I'm half conspiracy theorist too. You haven't noticed that LeBron was kind of being extra vocal, so he's probably been kind of doing the foreplay. Like you haven't been noticing that the past couple of months, LeBron was like, "Fuck out of here, fuck out of here." So he's like, "Yeah," and then so now gradually, and now Kaepernick, now they hit you with the racially ambiguous Kaepernick. These niggas know what they doing.
Hey, that's nice. Strategically being in the meeting and say, hold up now, within the climate that we're in this country right now, we have to make it clear to our consumers and the rest of the world what side we stand on, and we're gonna make it clear that we're not standing with Trump. We're evolutionary. We're a global brand. We're moving with the movement and the voice of the young. We're gonna set it, make it clear that we're on the opposite side of this whole thing, and watch how we benefit financially from it.
And they did that. They supported that in a country where the people that are most closest to this issue only represent like 12% of the population. This is the reason why I continue to point towards Nike and say, you know, even though it's business, the risk behind it. Think about this shit, man. Think about this shit, man.
But that 12% still has a high consumer rate. Like they still
wait.
was at a high
No, stop. I just tell me right now that you guys really believe that Nike, the Nike Corporation, is funded by black people.
Yeah, buying their sneakers like Jordans and all that stuff.
We can. All right. So what has this? Listen to me. What you guys are gonna have? What I'm saying is, if you think about Nike as a corporation, the revenue that they bring in, do you think that black people are the ones that keep Nike afloat? Like black people?
Yeah, niggas be getting $200 sneakers and shit. These white people burning $30 sneakers, and black people, I've seen people, impoverished black people with fucking phone posits. I guarantee you're not gonna find an impoverished white person with fucking phone posits. I guarantee it.
And to be quite honest, them same motherfuckers that are burning the sneakers bought the sneakers to burn the shit in the first place. So they still making the money off of the movement. You know
what I'm saying is there may be a certain shoe that we fucks with. What I'm saying is, all right, we may fuck with Air Force Ones, Jordans, some phone posits, whatever, Air Max, you know, but there's a lot of apparel that Nike creates. What I'm saying is, do you guys really believe that black people, like, say for instance, black people just stop buying Nikes, right? Would Nike go out of business? or they would just take
That
a
shit
little
would drop.
I mean,
That stock
They
would
will
drop.
feel it.
What?
They gonna feel that shit.
Oh no. They will.
but even with that, Jay, like when I think about just like the organizations that you're talking about, those organizations are still mostly funded by black people. If you're talking about basketball and basketball tie, that's mostly still black people within it that support that organization. The same thing with NFL. So you still have a huge majority of black people that's hoping the supply is on top of that.
We may
You know
be
what I mean?
And the
the
biggest
okay.
faces and the biggest faces globally that push Nike are black faces.
I don't know, man. I have a hard time believing that such a small population of people could actually make or break that. I mean, believe me, they're gonna feel it. They'll have to make some adjustments. And I don't think that Nike or any corporation would just go under just because 12% of, well, I'm saying 12%. We're 12% of the population in the country. But what
12%
percent?
allowed, bro.
No.
That's
But
the money. That's all
listen,
that counts, man.
no.
But
But
just like, all right, for example,
what portion?
Very irresponsibly.
Here's the
We
thing.
spend very irresponsibly on Nike.
No. What portion of that 12% spends money on Nikes? Like, give me be honest. I don't remember. I haven't bought a pair of Nikes.
See, I go with the numbers. Come on,
I'm gonna give you an example.
I'm Googling right now.
Do a quick example. Boom. Let's say there's 12% of the population, right? And there's a whole group of white people, and then white people is not really that big. So 12%, and because there's also non-white, and then there's always a lot of different fucking ways, nuances between it. All right, so boom. Let's say the 12% buy Nikes way more often than that other huge percent. Let's say the other huge percent buy Nikes like, once or twice a year. The other 12% buy 5 times, so it's gonna beat that percentage. You get what I'm saying? That was horrible math, but it's okay.
I don't know. I got the point though. I got the point. DB, you got something for us, or are you still looking? Because I'm
trying to do it real quick.
There's so many. It's like we put like this. If you have, let's say Nike has 5,000 stores nationwide, right? That includes your retail spots and malls, your outlets, little off-brand stores in the hood, right? 5,000 stores. How many communities of black people actually have a store that sells Nikes? Of that 5,000, let's say 12% of the five. My point is, we cannot believe that if we stopped buying Nikes, that Nike would go under. Gentlemen, in business, it can't happen. It can't happen. Black people are not the only ones that.
It don't matter how many stores they got out there. We online buying them.
No. I mean,
we wait for them sneakers to drop to buy them. Look. Nike is so synonymous with black culture in America. You got brothers with whole rooms full of Nike stacked up on the wall in the project.
And what I'm saying is, here's my point.
Where it's like that.
Brothers ain't investing in real estate. Brothers ain't investing in stocks, but brothers is investing in their Nike tennis shoes.
So you guys honestly?
You know what? I think we're limiting it by just saying this is a black people's movement. With the fact, like, if we talk about this environment and just like liberals in general, they jumping on the bandwagon too. They the ones that are like, oh, I'm not racist, so I'm gonna support this movement just like the black people do.
Remember the commercial. It wasn't just black people in the commercial. You had the Muslim sister with the with the Nike joint on there. Yeah.
This is what my point is. This is the point though. This is what I think why the timing was what it was, is because in the commercial, you see it's more than just black people. They're trying to include, like I said, the whole points to it. So listen, man.
Quite frankly, I'm gonna just throw this out real quick while you're getting your thoughts together. Is that I'm realizing this is not unique for business. The fact of like maybe taking a little sacrifice to do something that's seemingly good to the community. Like even recently watching an interview how Walmart is doing a lot of shit to go green. Like they're making a lot of their businesses like solar panel and pushing their supplies to go green. And I hear certain things also with like Pfizer and all that stuff. Like companies sometimes do these little moves. They do these moves to make it look good in the community to help them. It helps them push their profit up, because now you're getting new people like, oh, we're not a big, terrible corporation. We're also for the people. We're also for social change. So now, come support us as well, because this is what we're doing.
What I'm saying, for every, well, real quick, that's to me, that's just smart business, DB. Honestly, man.
I don't disagree with it. I don't disagree with it.
But for Anye, what I'm saying
It's
is, so
still a
you mean,
corporation.
yeah, I mean, we're in this country, man. This is all right. But
Oh,
real quick,
but see,
before, let me ask you about.
Let me say this, because like I said, it's the same thing I said before. Like you said, that this is necessarily, or this seems like an individual victory, and technically it is. It's Colin Kaepernick and Nikes are the ones that are profiting the most. Now it's up to at least one of those individuals to make it about the community. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the person that, well, it's not gonna come from Nike. I was never expecting Nike to focus on the community. I expected them to do exactly what they're supposed to do as a corporation. They sell sneakers, they sell apparel. They want to make money. They saw an opportunity and they seized it. Now, as far as the whole sacrifice is concerned, this is what gets people promoted to executive level. When you come up with an idea like this, a strategy like this, and you put it out there and you execute it and it works, this is what they do. But yay! So you telling me that for every one of those young black boys that are in their rooms with Nike littered all over the place, you mean to tell me for every one of them, you can find 6 white kids, for instance, doing the same exact thing? Simply because of the pop.
No.
Brother,
No.
Now, honestly though,
simply because of the numbers, man. Sheer numbers.
Correlation. I feel like white people just started to become sneakerheads. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't
Okay, but see, again, that's why I said apparel. Because, for instance, like when you think about sports, youth sports in this country, youth sports, right? Dick's Sporting Goods is not staying in business because black people keep going in to buy Jordans. They stay in business because they got the deals with these colleges, with these schools, with the NFL. That's how they stay in business. If black people decided to stop buying Nikes, right? You know who would keep Nike afloat? The same people who are burning the Nikes right now because they're supporting the Colin Kaepernick thing. You understand? Black people are not going to put Nike into bankruptcy if they stop buying Nikes. It's not going to happen.
I mean, there's bankruptcy. I understand the bankruptcy part, but like if for one, I mean, I guess there still is a margin line that you want with your profit that you want to keep up, and then 2, I just lost my thought that quick.
Well, no, I mean, so for me, I'm just saying, just because I'm as a recent man, I've realized more. Just the sheer numbers, man. Like I see where you going. I see what y'all thinking about, because when you think about, say, mass incarceration, for instance, if we're only 12% of the population, how do we dominate prisons, right? But that is a specific system that we understand. That it was set up that way, wasn't it? It was created that way. How does that relate to black people buying sneakers? That's a conscious fucking choice. And these people see these red and blue Great 5s or whatever, and then they go run down the Fight Club and get online. They ain't going online, they're getting online, and they're waiting there to buy some. Go ahead.
Somewhat conscious, but I don't know how smart it is when we choose.
It's not smart at all.
Sneakers over socks and shit. You know what I'm saying?
It's not smart at all.
It just kind of goes back to that whole subconscious of, let me get the $300 sneakers, even though I'm living in the project. You know what I'm saying? To make myself look like something and I'm actually not. To make myself feel good.
Yeah,
that might be more potent than the legal system, in the sense of like its symbols, and its symbols are so all-encompassing. It's like Jordan, come on, man, that shit fucking took the Nike up there, like the whole association with them.
It did. But I mean,
you got to think about it. Like I said before, is you seen the disruption that Colin Kaepernick was causing before when he was in the NFL. This is something like Nike, who has a big marketing team, saw. So I know they knew they had to take a hit, that they were going to take a hit, that they had to weigh out their options. So I mean, if on top of what you're saying, which I'm taking note, like if they're not going to go bankrupt because they have this small safety net, if they think that the majority of their customers, are going to be with them, and on top of that, if you have to compete against other companies, because one of the things I was hearing, like they were getting put under the heat by Under Armour. I think Under Armour is starting to push up with their apparel.
Yeah.
Like you're going to make this move. This is a smart move for you to make above everything.
I'm glad you brought that up, because even though we're talking about football, right? Nike, they deal with all kinds of sports. You bring up Under Armour. Think about in the NBA, your Steph Curry. Your Steph Curry is Under Armour's poster child. Understand? This is what I mean by eventually the shift from the Jordan brand. Put it like this. I'm amazed that the Jordan brand has stayed as relevant as it has, as long as it has. That's what makes it so incredible. But Nike is saying, what's the next Jordan? And we're going to go ahead and we're going to take this guy. We see his movement. We see the attention that is drawn. We're going to take this guy. We're going to give him this contract. But we know that he's about his business, so we ain't going to fuck with him with no bullshit. We ain't going to try to, neuter his message. We ain't going to do none of that. We're going to let him do what he do, and we're going to let these dollars roll in. And I'm all for that if Colin Kaepernick turns around and continues doing the same stuff that he was doing.
Let me throw something back in the discussion. And maybe this is just a conspiracy theorist.
Come on, man. Bring it on. Bring it on, Ye. Bring it, baby.
My boy, but I still got a question, because like I always promote to y'all, structure, how community lacks structure. And I know that we're in the game of chess in this country. Like, I can never really trust a voice that just comes from nowhere and it's just our voice. It's speaking for us, and nobody knows specifically where this came from. You dig what I'm saying? A lot of times there's an agenda behind the scenes that we don't know about. And going back specifically to a point Dame made, and I'll point specifically to that player. I think his name Eric Reid. Eric Reid, which no one is talking about, was the guy that was kneeling with him the whole time. He gets no publicity. He's not in the league. He gets no Nike contract at all. So I say, I hope that Kaepernick is who we think he is. Why don't we have these secret meetings going on with leaders of our own with the Kaepernick to put him out there? Why is Kaepernick with the corporation being put out there? And those are the things that make me say, I don't know. I don't know if he's in it for self. I don't know if he's in it for that corporation. I don't know.
Okay, so let me ask this question. When Colin Kaepernick took that knee on the field, right? This is for all three of y'all. Do y'all believe that he was genuine in this demonstration? Do you think it was coming from a good fucking? No, y'all can't do that. Y'all can't do that. Y'all telling me right now.
I'm gonna say personally, I still kind of feel. I personally feel that he was genuine, because I'm like on the opposite, where if I don't know, I don't see any reason why he would have to do that. That's why I think a lot of people are using the idea of a plant, because it builds that idea more of against the corporation, because it's like, oh, maybe he had to do it because he was, this was a marketing plan. This was all a marketing plan, which I have a harder time jumping on that. I don't think like a conspiracy theorist. You got to prove the shit to me. But I think it was genuine. It's just, it's a difference between then when he was kneeling to now. There's a lot of other narratives now in between all of that.
Listen, man, this is the problem. I'm gonna say this is the problem. This is the problem that I believe that, when we talk this shit about that how we want to see change, we want to see our people do better and shit like that. I am baffled. I can't. Somebody's going to have to explain to me that what happened other than this deal. What happened within the last couple of days to make people feel like it's possible that this is a hoax. I want to understand, man. What happened?
You know what? Maybe it could be a psychological thing to where we just feel like a lot of times deep down that there's no hope in this country. So when we see light, a ray of hope, it's like, we can't believe that shit. It must be a game they playing on us. We can't. Maybe that's a little bit of it, because so many tricks have been run on.
That's not insane, That's not insane, no.
Just to build off of that. Sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just saying, is that you don't think that's insane to every day of your life be wishing, hoping, and then there's a ray that comes through and you questioning it? Why? Because you have never seen it before, but you've been looking for
I
this
think it's
thing.
a matter of
Once
the
upon a time,
narrative, man. Like I think people like that underdog shit. I think the people like the fact that Kaepernick did get booted out of the NFL for supposedly standing for something that he believes in. That people were riding with it. Now you have a corporation like, oh, you have this big corporation that's funding you. Now that underdog narrative is done. Now it's people like martyrs. People like people that sacrifice shit. But you know, when you win too much, now all of a sudden you're not a martyr no more. Now you're part of the system.
Either you want to
Now you
fucking
really
win, or either you want to win, or you don't want to win. How are you straddling the fence? Either you want to win, or you don't want to win. Either you talk about winning.
I mean,
How do you talk
that's
about
the
winning
thing.
and then
Like,
win and be like, I'm not sure I want this
because I
victory?
hate when this part comes up because I feel like I'm arguing for the motherfuckers. But I'm just thinking in line. Like I'm thinking if, and this is where I do fall on is the fact is I got to see where the win comes from. Like I got to see where the win for the people comes from. Like, and I said that before with him kneeling. Him kneeling itself didn't do anything. I mean, it brought people aware, but at the same time, then it became about him losing his job with the NFL and boycotting. So now it's like, okay, what are we talking about now? We're no longer talking about police brutality. We're talking about some man who's being subjugated to some kind of, you know, some kind of, I don't even want to say oppression, but he's taking a fall or taking a hit for something that he believes in instead of originally what he was doing it for. And now it's becoming something else on top of that. It's becoming the next step of that. So it's like we're not even talking about originally what we were supposed to be talking about, which is police brutality. So me personally, I'm like, I don't know where the win is. So that's why I'm waiting to see what Kaepernick's next move is. To see where that win.
A lot of times, that's the problem when we idolize these people so much. This man, if he is genuinely trying to do good, now his name becomes bigger than the movement, and we put the movement and what we're supposed to be ingrained into people's minds at all times. And now it's about Kaepernick.
That hasn't.
Kaepernick and Nike. Kaepernick and Nike.
That hasn't always been the case in history, though. That hasn't always been.
Yeah. That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a problem.
But you know, but there's levels, man. There's difference between like Paul Robeson's and Muhammad Ali's and Jim Brown's. You know what I mean? Like there's clear differences. You know what I mean? So I guess this is up for time to figure out which part of the spectrum that Kaepernick falls under. Is he going to be the Paul Robeson, or is he going to be James Brown?
To talk about the victory for real quick. So I think the victory, well, the small one, the one that could be expected from this demonstration, the victory was to keep the conversation going. Did anybody believe that him taking a knee was going to stop police brutality? Is that what the win?
No, well, I think that is still a question for me because I mean that, and this is part of why I think people are talking about the Nike thing, is that conversation stopped very quick. You had that combination in the conversation in the beginning, then it became about conversation about disrespecting the flag. Then it became a discussion about him getting kicked out the NFL. Now it's a discussion about Nike. So that discussion was there in the beginning, but that got taken over real quick. And that's kind of the idea of appropriation. Like this is the thing is once something else takes control of it, you lose focus on what originally you was talking about.
And that's why
so it was a small victory for a small amount of time.
And that's why it's so important for us to have forums like this where we control the narrative, because when it goes into their hands, they're always going to turn it into something else. But we have to keep our people focused that this is about inequality. It's about police brutality. Kaepernick is the agitator, and he's doing his job with that. I love when he was kneeling because it like you said, G, it kept the conversation going. We cannot let this conversation die.
Let me go ahead and drop the. Oh, I'm sorry. Because I'm gonna drop the mother of all bombs in a minute. Let me let you finish that. Let me let you finish that thought real quick before I drop this nuke on you fellas real quick, man.
And I feel like that co-optation happened with fucking Martin Luther King. And have y'all ever seen the Hunger Games? Has anybody seen the Hunger Games?
I've never.
Yeah.
I ain't
I've
seen
never
the Hunger
seen it.
Games. I feel like watch the Hunger Games, and I feel like that's what's happening with Colin Kaepernick. Like he's kind of like Katniss before the end of the Hunger Games, because the Hunger Games kind of had us. Like, no, I'm dead ass. you kind of see the co-optation around like the second movie, and if you watch the Hunger Games, you be like, oh, these motherfuckers is really kind of trying to do this. But all right, you can make it one.
No, the bomb that I was thinking about dropping was here's the thing. It'd be one thing if Colin Kaepernick was still active in the NFL, but he's not, right? And we don't know if he ever will be. So the he got his celebrity through football, right? His celebrity is evolving through the demonstration. But now that he's no longer in the NFL, what keeps him relevant now if it's not doing things for the community and sticking to the cause? What keeps him relevant now? Not just the fucking sneaker. Because he's not at the point where Jordan is, where people are buying the sneaker based off of the fact that this thing is just what it is. It's a staple in our community. He's not there yet. How does Colin Kaepernick stay relevant if he doesn't stick to the movement?
I mean, I agree, but the point of the same thing about Jordan and everything else is that relevancy, as far as Nike is concerned, is going to die, and they're going to move on to someone else.
Right.
So my thing is, it depends on what Kaepernick does.
Well,
so,
what's
I mean, I agree.
I'm saying in terms of in terms of people focusing on this plant and all this other shit. You keep it where let's say let's say LeBron. Let's say this was LeBron James that received this. LeBron can continue to dupe black people if that's what's going on. He can continue to dupe black people because he's still playing basketball. He can continue to win over the love of the people because he's still slamming balls, shooting from half court, putting shit between his legs. As long as he's on TV doing that, people can focus on something else. Colin Kaepernick's not in football no more. Where is his relevancy state? Where's it coming from if he's not sticking to the movement? I'm supporting this, fellas. You hear me? Where's it coming from? Where would his relevancy come from if it's not with this Nike thing and with this with the police brutality focusing? If it's not that, where does his relevancy come from? He ain't playing ball no more,
brother,
gentlemen.
like I said, I personally, I mean, it wouldn't have been as relevant, but I mean, he was making a lot of noise beyond that. I mean, it was the donations, but he was still getting magazine coverage. He was still winning awards. He got, like I said, he got a book deal. He was still staying relevant with the court case against NFL. Like, I mean, he was there. Like, it was profitable for them to do him. Like,
none of it was football, though. What I'm saying is none of it was.
Like, if he would have withered away, and not say anything or moved silently where he was not in the public, or at least some people's public view, Nike would not have signed him if he didn't have that relevancy. Because it's been about how long has he been out the NFL? About maybe 2 years?
This would be his second year, right? This would be his second
Yeah,
year.
you know what I'm saying? Like within those 2 years, like I said, some people disappeared. You know what I mean? Some of those people that kneeled with him disappeared. But they didn't have a name in the first place. He did, and he wrote that outside of the NFL to a point where Nike was like, all right, I still see you, so they put him up there. So this makes it more relevant. But I don't think he would have lost his relevancy right away because he was still in the public sphere.
Well, okay, so that's my point. If he wasn't going to lose it because he was still active, that's what's making me feel optimistic about his intentions, because he was doing it before the money. I'm talking about before the Nike money. He got his money from the 49ers, but he was doing it before the Nike money and continued to do it up until Nike brought the money. What makes you think he's not going to keep doing it after the money? That's what I'm saying. But we'll.
I mean, like I said, I don't know the man. I thought his original intent was genuine. I'm just waiting to see what he does with the money. Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, that's it for me. Right. I'm just waiting to see what he does from here on out.
I tell you what, man, folks, it was
great.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Andy.
I agree.
You agree? Okay. And Anye, what about you, brother? Listen, man, I like where this thing went, but y'all, hopefully y'all could tell that when it comes, I'm really addicted, really infatuated with the idea of business. And when I heard about this, and I paid attention. Now I haven't broken down any contracts or any details, but just on the surface, I like this kind of exchange. You do what you need to do over here, get people to pay attention to you, so they have no choice but to throw fucking money at you. Fellas, folks, this has been a absolutely great show, in my opinion. Like, share, subscribe, comment, because we definitely need to continue this conversation since everybody's going to talk about it. You know, I got my views. The fellas got their views. We want to hear yours. I'm G. Cleve. You saw my fellas. Reality Gurus. Take care.